You're like,
Hey, look at that. It's Adam Kinzinger, the author of the new book, Renegade. Trump's 14th Amendment trial begins in Colorado this week. And for those of you who may not know, is that the 14th Amendment has within it that no one who is engaged in insurrection against the United States of America or of its officers are allowed to hold office in the United States, an elected office. And the central question there is if Trump engaged in an insurrection.
yeah.
You investigated that question for over a year in the January 6th committee. Is there enough evidence that he did indeed do that?
Oh, I think absolutely. I think he absolutely engaged in insurrection. I went into that investigation trying to have an open mind, and I came out very convinced that Donald Trump wasn't just some guy riding a boat in the rough seas. He actually directed this insurrection to happen. Now, my thing on the 14th Amendment issue is I think they'd be frankly right to kick Donald Trump off the ballot because of this question. I think this is the law. This is the Constitution. I would just personally much rather see him get crushed at the ballot box because I think to yet get rejected again, Donald Trump is a loser who keeps losing. And I think to lose again will be important to heal this nation. And frankly, you have one very sick party in the GOP. To begin to heal that, they have to lose and lose and lose.
Well, I agree. Well, two things. One, the 14th Amendment was passed for a particular purpose, and it really had to do with the Civil War. But at the heart of it is someone, basically nullification of our votes because somebody doesn't particularly like the way the government is going to go if that election goes through. I mean, the Civil War kind of came about after Abraham Lincoln was elected, and they went, okay, we see the writing on the wall. We don't like the outcome of that election. We're going to bug out of here. And so the spirit of it is the same. If you cannot abide by the constitutional laws of the United States, you can't be a president of the United States or hold any office. So there's a reason it's there. It does make sense to me. I agree that defeating him in the ballot box would be more spiritually satisfying in a way for our nation. But the problem is that he doesn't recognize having lost at the ballot box. Yeah. So where does that leave you? You just get another round of denials and you get another group of people who will agree with that. Yeah. Where does that leave us, Adam Kinzinger? If the courts can't do it and Congress won't impeach him and the people's decision isn't accepted by him or the majority of the GOP, how do we flush this unflushable turd?
Just keep flushing, man. Poke it with a stick.
Get the stick?
You gotta get the stick
okay. out. Next election is a year from Sunday. If something happened, I don't mean nothing bad, but if Mr. Trump just changed his mind and wanted to just go stare at the sea for the rest of his life and not be president of the United States, happy, but they say he's president and they give him an Emmy, he's happy.
Gets the gold watch.
Okay, who would you like to see get the nomination from what was once your party?
Well, so the two I find acceptable to an extent, Nikki Haley, I wish she'd actually speak out against Trump more, and Chris Christie, because he's actually been speaking out against Donald Trump. I think there's three lanes left. There's the Trump lane, there's the Nikki Haley, who's kind of the old establishment, and the Chris Christie, who are people that are really ticked off at Donald Trump. And but I think this is Trump's to lose. I think the fact that everybody else on that debate stage is affirming Donald Trump the whole time they're debating. Oh, he's a victim. There's a two-tier justice system. Donald Trump is a victim of a witch hunt. There's no doubt then, and no surprise, that the Republican base believes that he's a victim because the people that are supposed to be saying he's not a victim are totally coddling him.
And they're not using the tools at their disposal. Correct. 91 indictments.
91.
A federal judge has said, not a federal judge, a New York judge has said, no, that E. Jean Carroll decision, that means you raped her.
Yeah, he's
and
a
no
rapist.
one on that side is picking up that. Christie does to a certain extent, I'll give him that credit. But no one is using the knives at their disposal for him. It seems like they're not serious about wanting to defeat him.
They're just scared to death. And if you're gonna run for president scared to death, you probably shouldn't be president. Think about Mike Pence. Like, even Mike Pence, who I give him credit for doing the constitutional thing on the day of January 6th, he called our committee, the January 6th committee, a partisan witch hunt. He said there was no Republican involvement in that. He's basically protected Donald Trump and said that there is a DOJ witch hunt against him. And then we wonder why he came out of the race with 1% of the vote. Because you can't be lukewarm, to use a biblical term. You're either hot or cold on Donald Trump. Either love the guy or spit him out. But to pretend like he's somewhat okay and it's okay to break the law a little bit, you're gonna lose every time. Take a stand, people. That's what gets tiring to me is this. Take a stand.
Congressman, thank you so much for being here. His book is Renegade. It's available now. Congressman Adam Kinzinger, everybody. We'll be right back with